How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final fight. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be out you. Won't anybody help us? What are we running for? When there's nowhere we can run to anymore. We can't afford to be innocent. Stand up and face the enemy. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible. And with the power of conviction, there is no sacrifice. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible.
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Can we grow up a little bit and
Alt
not
Girl
be
sent $200.
retarded?
Have you
Please.
seen the work of Karlyn Borysenko? Anti-commie cult leader and is obsessed with looking at what actual far-left communists are talking about and organizing today, infiltrating them. They infiltrated the universities, schools, media. She has the receipts to back it up. Primary source evidence. Infestation is dire and she calls Republicans idiots eating slop. Agree.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, I know Karlyn B. She's solid. She's funny. I
The
like
great
her.
noticer sent $200.
Literally.
So
not
it's,
Ian.
it's not a because I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage. But that's the big part of what's the
Is
problem.
that what you call reporting?
Go
and live
under if
streaming?
you're going to do it.
Yeah,
go
seriously.
undercover. Otherwise, you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah.
But
Please.
Ian, here's and I agree with you to an extent.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? Happy Tuesday. How's it going? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing today? Hey, golf. It's not okay, golf. Yeah. Golf. Golf. Men are allowed to golf, but I'm not allowed to buy luxury purses on the resale market. It is an absurd world that we live in, isn't it? Well, guys, we have a special treat today. We have a special treat. We are doing a rare public spy stream today. And I'm going to be honest, literally the only reason that we are doing a public spy stream today, and I'm not making this a supporter exclusive, is because it was at the same time as my daily stream. I'm going to put the sunglasses on. Relax. We're doing spy stream. I have to wear sunglasses on spy stream. It's like the law, but we're not on spy stream yet. We got 15 more minutes. So literally the only reason that we are doing this publicly instead of as a supporter exclusive is because the video that we're watching, the live presentation that we're watching, happens to start in 15 minutes. And I was like, well, I could do everything as a supporter exclusive spy stream, or I could just make the first one public. Yep. You know what's going on. Yep. That's exactly right. We are watching Haymarket Books. We are watching Haymarket Books today in a public stream that they are doing with a live chat, which Haymarket Books doesn't. I wonder if one in the chat if you think we can get Haymarket Books to shut down their live chat. 2 in the chat if you think that we can't do that. 1 in the chat if you think that we can get Haymarket Books to shut down their live chat. 2 in the chat if you think we can't do that. Now, I want to be very clear. About how we are going to get Haymarket Books to shut down their chat, because you know what we are not going to do? Do you know what will not be happening? You will not spam their chat. You will not shitpost in their chat. You will not raid their chat. We don't do any of that shit. If I see anyone from my chat over in their chat causing problems, I will permanently ban you from my chat. When we are doing things like this with socialists, we play it straight. We do not shitpost. We do not raid. We do not cause problems. We do not disrupt their training. What we may do in a very limited and controlled capacity is to ask questions that are related to what they are saying in the presentation, and that is it. And on this topic, guys, my word is God. If you want to be a part of this community, you will respect my wishes. If you cannot control yourself, then don't go over to their stream. You can stay here. You can say what you want to say here. I don't really care if you say stuff here about them. Here is for the commentary. But we do not cause problems for them, because every time one of you retards goes and causes problems for them when we're doing stuff like this, it ends up blowing back on me and could potentially impact my channel. So I am saying very, very clearly that if anyone is over there causing any problems in their chat, I disavow you. And if I recognize you from my chat, I will permanently ban you from my chat if you are causing problems over there. So if there is anyone causing problems, disrupting, being an asshole, spamming their chat, that is not coming from me, and that is not coming from my community. I do not want that. I do not support that. I completely disavow that. You will not be allowed over here if you do it over there. And yes, we do pay attention. And yes, we do really permanently ban people who disrespect my wishes on this matter. Because the reason that we are watching this presentation is not to disrupt it. The reason that we are watching this presentation is to listen to what they have to say. And that's it. We are collecting evidence. We are listening to their perspective. We are trying to figure out what they're doing next, what their organizing strategies are. And on today's call, I mean, my God, could we even be asking for more? How Minnesota's labor movement is resisting ICE. This is 4 union representatives in the state of Minnesota talking about how they are using the unions explicitly to do anti-ICE organizing. That's what we're going to be watching. That presentation starts in about 10 minutes. We are going to operate it like a spy stream, which means generally speaking, I do not speak over them. The reason I don't speak over them is this is my recording too, and I want to be able to hear them. But what I normally do is chat in comments to the screen over here. You will see me chatting in terms of like, here's what you need to know about this, all that stuff. I'm not saying I won't speak over it. Every once in a while I do if it makes sense, but like usually I try not to speak over it because we are listening, and if I'm speaking over something, we might miss something, we might not learn something, and that is actually the purpose of this exercise and why we are doing what we're doing. And Reagan is making a good point. This is good practice for not disrupting their event with nonsense for when people go to the No Kings protest. Because if you're going to the No Kings protest, you're going to need to know how to control your emotions. And you're going to need to know how to not to speak up when you have something to say. And you're going to need to learn how to sit there, shut the fuck up, and resist that resounding urge to own the libs that I know so many of you have. So consider this a practice run. If you are incapable of staying out of their chat, if you are incapable of not causing problems, then perhaps you are not at the maturity level required to be on this channel, and we should just part ways now because I do not support that shit at all. We are adults here. I am not going to engage in any of this lowbrow retardation, and I don't want them to be able to say that I sent a whole bunch of people over there to cause problems later. Okay? So if you are causing problems, you're on their team, you're not on my team. And I want to make sure that's really clear right off the bat, all right? So that is what we are doing. There will probably be retards over in their chat talking about me. I am going to keep the chat off on the main screen, mostly because there will be people who are watching my stream right now who do want to cause problems and who do want to disrupt, and they're going to go over to their chat purely to try to get my attention. So we are not displaying the chat on the screen because I'm not going to give those idiots the attention from me that they are so desperate for. They can into the Stone Age for all I care. As long as people over here are behaving, that's all I care about. But don't think for 1 second that I'm not going to be monitoring the chat in another window. I'm just not going to be showing it on the screen. And so there will be no reaction if people are trying to get my attention. But we will be monitoring the chat to see what's going on in there. And again, if anyone over here is causing problems over there, you will be permanently banned over here. So you better make it worth it if that is the game you're playing, because that's the way it's going to go. This presentation is going to get started in around 7.5 minutes. I do just want to remind people that that in addition to this public spy stream now, we are doing a supporter exclusive spy stream later on tonight. So later on tonight, we're going to be going inside a live No Kings organizing call where they are training the organizers of the No Kings events all over the country. There's going to be thousands of No Kings events on Saturday all over the country, and we are going to be doing a live spy stream later tonight to go inside their organizing call live and to understand what instructions the No Kings organizers are getting. That's going to be around 7:30, 7:45 tonight, and that will be a supporter exclusive. So in order to access the spy stream later tonight, you have to be a supporter on my Substack, my locals, my Patreon, a Twitter subscriber, or a YouTube channel member. Rumble, I'm going to hook you guys up as well. A YouTube channel member. So per usual, guys, when we're doing a class day, I do want to have a channel membership goal. I want to see if people will support the work I'm doing voluntarily by sending in some channel memberships. And I'm going to do a little bit of a lower goal today because we're doing a spy stream. It's a little bit of a different type of day. But if you appreciate me making today's spy stream public instead of doing it behind a paywall, if you appreciate me making this information available and the breakdowns available to everyone, please feel free to send in a channel membership. Not only will you be supporting my work, but you will also be gifting out a channel membership to others on the stream who may not be able to afford it for whatever reason. It's a really nice thing to do. That means more people can come to the supporter exclusive spy stream later on tonight, which is awesome. Gifting a channel membership only costs $5 if you're sending in one. So consider it class dues for the class on the internet that I'm going to give you today. I also want to mention that tomorrow we have 2 spy streams. There will be 2. Well, there's currently scheduled to be 2. There will be at least 1 and possibly as many as 2 spy streams tomorrow. And those spy streams are going to be supporter exclusive. Sith over on Rumble. W's to Sith over on Rumble with the first channel membership of the day. Guys, on YouTube, are you going to let Rumble show you up? Rumble in with the first channel membership of the day? Dang, YouTube, dang. So guys, here's the deal. In order for me to keep doing stuff like this publicly, I do need people to fund my work because I am 100% independently funded by people just like you. If you appreciate the time and energy that I put into finding these trainings, researching these trainings, bringing you these trainings live, breaking them down in real time on the stream so that you can understand them, giving you content to share with everyone so that you can tell people what the real far left is doing, making you guys smarter than literally anyone on the internet about the real far left. If you appreciate the work I do, I humbly ask that you fund the work I do by sending in channel memberships, super chats, joining the Substack as a supporter. It's $8 a month, $80 a year over there. And if you can please do those things, that keeps me in business. That allows me to spend so much time with you guys, and it makes it a financially viable venture. So if we can hit a goal of 50 channel memberships by the end of the stream today, I would really appreciate that. That is a little bit of an abbreviated goal from what we normally have. If we can't hit that goal, then I need to seriously consider if this is something that people consider valuable and I need to go do something else. And that's the reality that we are in. So if we can get 50 people to donate 1 channel membership, which again is $5, $5. If literally everyone in the YouTube chat donated 1 channel membership right now, we would already be over double the goal, is the thing. Yo, Ben, you figured out how to send in channel memberships. W's to Ben with the 5 channel memberships. Thank you so much, Ben, for your donation. We really do appreciate that. Welcome to all the new channel members. Guys, be like Ben. Be like Ben. If 9 more people were like Ben, we would already be at the channel goal and I wouldn't have to cajole you. And that's just the way it goes. So that is what we are doing today, guys. We are doing a spy stream. Now, as a reminder, if you have not yet watched the Infiltrating the No Kings protest presentation that I posted on Substack and YouTube and Rumble and Twitter the other day, I want to encourage people. We are going inside the No Kings protest this weekend. We're doing it live. Hey, thanks, Mitchell. W's to Mitchell gifting a channel membership. W's to Tolkien fan gifting a channel membership. Thank you so much, bros. I really do appreciate both of you. Look at that. Already up to 8. Already up to 8. You guys rock. Guys, we will be doing a little community exercise this weekend in which we are going to the No Kings protests, like in person, not just on the internet. We're doing this in person. And I have a team of volunteers all over the country who are going to the No Kings protests to collect evidence, to collect propaganda, to see what far left groups are showing up in the No Kings protest, to show us what is going on the ground. And we are going to use this evidence in order to create a massive map of far left activism related to the No Kings protest so that we can start to get a sense of what far left groups are active where in the country based on stuff that you guys are going to find on the ground. My class dues for membership, since my iPhone is being dumb. Thank you, ANS. I will count that towards a channel membership for you. Thank you so much for sending that in. Really do appreciate that, bro. If you would like to join us, because this is an organized effort, we're doing our own organization, Leftist. You can kiss my ass if you don't like it. I don't really care. We are doing an organized effort here. So that means we're all working together. But if you want to join my team of people, and by the way, let me just see. I've got another 24 people that have emailed me in the last day saying they're going and telling me where they're going. And if you've emailed me and I haven't gotten back to you yet, don't worry about it. I'm going to be getting back to everyone. I'm going to be documenting where everyone is on a map. And so we've already got probably about 24 people that are going to No Kings events all over the country to collect all this evidence and on the ground stuff that have already gone through the Infiltrating the No Kings protest training and followed the directions. If you want to join us, I cannot emphasize this enough. The only way to join my team of people that is going to the No Kings protest to collect evidence is to watch the Infiltrating the No Kings protest training. Because in that training, I will tell you where to email me and I will tell you what to say in that email explicitly. And what I need you to do is watch the training, follow the advice I give you, and then follow the explicit directions I give you in the training. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not on my team. You got to watch the training. You got to get the information. W's over the hill, gang. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted channel memberships. Really, really appreciate that. Look, all the way up to 14. No, we're going to do it. We're going to hit the goal. I know it. So it's about a 90-minute training. It tells you everything you need to know about like going undercover and what to do if you're nervous and what to wear and how to talk to people and the strategy that we're using and what to kind of say to people and stuff like that. It covers all the things you shouldn't do as well. And it covers how to actually contact me to join the team that I'm putting together. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be collecting far left propaganda that's going to be handed out at these protests. And we know for absolute certainty that propaganda is being handed out. Why? Because the far left is publishing about it. And so we're going to go collect it. We're going to go see what far left groups are existing in this ecosystem. And this is all going to be based on primary source on the ground evidence from the largest network of volunteers all over the country that is making it our business, because God knows no one else is doing this except us, that we're making it our business to go and find this information and to try to help everyone hinge into reality with what is going on. Started yet? They're just playing their pre-email. Don't worry. So we are getting into Spy Stream now, guys. Again, if you have never been to Spy Stream with us, this is a live training. We are watching this live. We do not know what they're going to say. We do not know what they're going to do. Do not go over to their chat. Stay over here. Oh, did they turn off their chat? Guess what? They turned off their chat. They turned off their chat. Where did the chat go? Why is there no longer a live chat? Where did that go? Oh, there's another one this week? Oh, look at that. Where did the live chat go? Did we already get a W and get them to shut down their live chat? I'm so sorry, Haymarket Books. I'm so sorry. Guys, this is the thing. We don't need to ship post. We don't need to disrupt. We don't have to do anything. We literally don't have to do anything to get them to shut down their chat. They do it as soon as they find out that we're paying attention. We literally don't have to do anything. Whose chat? Our chat. Whose chat? Our chat. Whose chat? Our chat. Haymarket is well aware that we could colonize their chat if we damn well felt like it. Not that we're going to do that, but we could have done it. Hey, W's Axehead, we appreciate the channel memberships. Thanks so much, bro. Welcome to all the new channel members. See, look at that. Wasn't that easy? Isn't it nice when we can get leftists to do things and we don't even have to do anything? We just have to, like, look at them. That's literally all that happened. All we did was look at them and let them know that we were looking at them, and they shut down all forms of communication. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? All right, let's tune into this, guys. And now I know none of you can go and make problems in their chat, so you can stay over here, okay? Let's hear what they have to say.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here today. For one day longer, one day stronger, how Minnesota's labor movement is resisting ICE.
Low volume on their end.
Panel with Haymarket Books and Workday Magazine. We've got a great lineup of speakers today, but before we'll start, I'll introduce myself. I'm the moderator. My name is Amy Stager. I live in Minneapolis, where I report for Workday Magazine. We are a nonprofit newsroom devoted to holding the powerful accountable through the perspective of workers. We're based in Minnesota, and we cover workers in the Midwest and beyond.
There we go.
We're also housed at the University of Minnesota at the Labor Education Service.
At the University of Minnesota.
Before we begin our conversation, I thought I would give a quick status update on what people have called the biggest immigration crackdown in U.S. history. The beginning of the so-called end of Operation Metro Surge was announced by Border Czar Tom Homan on February 12th. At one point, there had been up to 4,000 combined ICE and Border Patrol agents and other personnel at the peak of this surge. That went down to just a few hundred, I believe somewhere between 200 to 300. In February, NPR News reported that ICE's St. Paul field office director, Sam Olson, wrote that the St. Paul office, which covers the entirety of Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa, is typically staffed with 190 enforcement and removal operations officers, and about 80 of those are in the Twin Cities. And while these agents might not be pepper spraying people every day, they are still here. And thousands of people have been arrested, detained, and released, or not released, and sent to detention centers out of state where their access to legal resources has been restricted. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is being replaced by Senator Markwayne Mullin. More than 30 people here in Minnesota have been indicted for an action that took place at a church in St. Paul, where one of the ICE field directors works as a pastor, including journalists who were there to cover that action. So although the surge is over, allegedly, our communities are trying to recover while preventing more neighbors and coworkers from being targeted, all the while trying to survive countless other crises, such as looming cuts to different programs like Medicaid, childcare, cuts to education, and a partial government shutdown, as well as attacks on our neighbors across the globe. We are also trying to get the word out and educate and prepare people in other areas of our country who also might see a similar surge headed their way. So here at Workday Magazine, our team has not only been covering the labor movement's response to Operation Metro Surge,
Professional
but
streamer.
the past few years of growing resistance to fascism and authoritarianism, trying to get people to pay attention to the soil that has been laid by organizers past and present. And organized labor has been a crucial part of that movement growth here. From the COVID-19 pandemic, the struggle against Line 3, the George Floyd uprising, people have been galvanized to start organizing in their workplaces, neighborhoods, schools, and homes. And while the resistance to ICE atrocities has been fueled by working class collective action and care, there is so much to learn about how things are evolving, from January 23rd's historic work stoppage to the continued on-the-ground mutual aid and rapid response networks, keeping people fed,
Mutual
housed,
aid.
and safe from authoritarian aggressors.
That's the
every day.
funding. Mutual
So today
aid.
we'll be hearing from union leaders and rank and filers who have been active on the front lines and also behind the scenes about what we are capable of when we come together and what must be done to keep growing worker power. So now I will introduce our panel of speakers. Please introduce yourself. Let us know what
I
union
can't
you're with,
fix their volume,
any
guys.
other
This is a live
associations you'd
presentation.
like to
There is no
share,
way to change their
and I
volume.
would
So
love to hear
that's just
what
the way it
brought you
is.
into the labor movement. Fabian, if you could go first, that would be wonderful if you're ready.
My name is Fabian Gilagaber.
Oh!
I am with Unite Here, Local 17,
Well, that's
based in
louder.
Minneapolis, Minnesota. I am also a worker at the airport.
Okay, okay. We
server
obviously need to do a little reminder here. This is a live presentation. I can't control their fucking volume. If I hear people complaining about the volume, I'm going to end up timing you out because it really pisses me off when you guys continue to play about the fucking volume instead of just listening to the fucking presentation, because there ain't fuck off I can do about it. This is a live presentation. I cannot control their volume. I cannot control your volume. Get a pair of fucking headphones. This is the way it goes.
63, where I'm also on the executive board and steward. Besides that, I'm a local journalist of some renown. I write a weekly newsletter called the Twin Cities Labor Report, and that which is available on Substack. What got me into the labor movement was I was finishing up school and I was on the elliptical and I saw on TV the West Virginia teachers on strike in 2018, and I said, "That's really cool. I want to do that."
Awesome. Thank you so much. Chelsea, can you go next?
Hello, my name is Chelsea Globitz-Gabio. I am the president here at the Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation of the AFL-CIO. So we represent union members and workers all throughout Minneapolis, the West Metro, North and South of here. And we are the umbrella organization for all of the unions. So we work with teachers, construction workers, federal workers, all industries and all sectors. I am also a UFCW member. I started out working in a grocery store, and one day, politics and organizing wasn't on my mind, but one day somebody who worked with me in the produce department came up to me. He's like, "Hey, you really like to talk to your coworkers a lot. You should come to this training." And that went to a union training for the first time and kind of just kept organizing from there. And so I always say, like, look out for those people that are organizers in your lives that you don't know are organizers, because I never would have called myself an organizer. They saw it in me.
Thank you for sharing. There are so many different paths into the labor movement, and I love asking that question and just hearing all the different things that pull people in. So now we'll get into the heart of our conversation. What was your experience like of January 23rd and 30th, if you also participated on that date? And how do you think we should keep this momentum going? Fabian, would you like to go first?
Well, my experience is I'm out of work. I mean, I was very happy. I'm so proud to be from Minnesota, first and all. It was freezing cold, snowing, cold or hot. The workers, I was very like, I've been doing this organizing with the union for the past 15 years. I never seen anything like this. Workers were very organized.
All unions are controlled by far leftists. If you haven't figured that out yet, you're not paying attention. All far left organizing goes through the unions. These are not exceptional unions. These are the major unions that the vast majority of people are in. Unions are controlled by far leftists. If you or anyone here is under the mistaken impression that unions are not controlled by the far left, hinge into reality, shut the fuck up and listen.
Number of people that were there, and I'm so proud of that.
Thank you. I think I might have gotten my questions mixed up, but you answered my original question, which was, what have you seen in your workplaces or industries since Operation Metro Surge first began? And so thank you, Fabian, for answering that question. I will ask about January 23rd next. But Paul, could you go ahead and answer this question? What have you seen in your workplaces and industry?
Yeah, I mean, for January and February within grocery stores, it was really, really tough, I would say. ICE frequently used our parking lots of grocery stores as staging grounds. In a few non-union stores, Target being the biggest example, they actually even arrested folks who were working. A couple of our members were arrested by ICE, including someone who was arrested on his way into his shift. Moreover, there was just a lot of fear in the workplace. Especially in our departments that are in the front end, there's a lot of people who are like spend their shift on the as a cashier, like looking out the front windows. And I know a lot of people who are just looking to see if there were any like SUVs with out-of-state plates coming through, that kind of thing. I think it just overwhelmingly was a very scary time for people. I think, on the other hand, there's a lot of examples of people stepping up and doing lots of courageous acts in their neighborhoods, watching out for their coworkers, giving folks rides home. The other thing that approaches us in grocery stores is the huge amount of mutual aid that was done. There were lots and lots of people who would come in and like empty out our shelves and bring it over to a food bank or something like that. Most of the time I thought that was really heartwarming. There were sometimes at the end of my shift where I had a different opinion, but so we saw it every day, and we saw days where there were a lot less customers coming in, and then days, where people started coming back in. So we witnessed it through that as well.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, we'll be talking about mutual aid shortly as well. Chelsea, what have you seen in your workplace or industry since Operation Metro Surge first began? What have workers been facing and how have they been taking action?
Well, I will say there hasn't been a single union that hasn't been impacted in some way. So we definitely have the union members who are being detained. They're taken to the Whipple building and then very quickly swept out of state into other places. We have a legal fund that's currently supporting about 80 families who have been detained or had a family member who has been detained. A majority of these folks were either on their way to work or on their way home from work. So this is really, driving a lot of that fear and those decisions of, do I go to work or do I try to ride this out from my home? And like even now we're trying to figure out how many people may have just left the state and gone to live with, and that's still completely unaccounted for. So we have the folks who were directly impacted by detention. We are still trying to bring many of our families back home to Minneapolis. It is a very slow and arduous process. And these workers are facing declining, deplorable detention practices. We have numerous people coming back with very significant health issues, in addition to the trauma, the mental trauma that they are going through because of the neglect that they have been faced in there. And a majority of everyone that we're working with has a work authorization. So, that's the scale of folks that are being directly impacted that way. There's a whole nother set of workers who you've already heard a little bit about who have been afraid to go to work. So they're missing income. Their children may be sheltering in place with them, missing out on critical education. And some of these may be children who missed out on development during the COVID pandemic as well. So there's a whole network of people who's just, got this very heavy economic burden that this community is trying its best to support through mutual aid, as you said. And then you have the frontline workers. You have the folks who are the teachers who are teaching to half-empty classrooms, who are going out of their way to do their own deliveries after school, that are going out of their way to talk to that family that has a kid who's not coming to class. You have the nurses who are seeing people cancel critical care appointments because they're afraid to come in. Nurses who've had to stand up to ICE agents who have been trying to, arrest people who are in their facilities and in their care. So there's, bus drivers who have seen people detained at bus stops. So we have, our whole entire fleet of frontline workers who are seeing the very real impacts. And then so many of our union members are a part of the amazing network of constitutional observers and folks in our community. And ultimately that took the life of one of our union members, Alex Preddy, who's an AFGE member and a nurse at the VA. So when I say that unions and workers have been impacted, it is along all those ranges of issues. And so that, I think, is why you've seen just such a resolute response that this is not okay from the workers movement, because we're seeing it show up in our lives, but we're seeing it in every single one of our workplaces.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it is affecting workers in their homes, in their schools, in their workplaces, in their streets, outside. It's really been all encompassing and comprehensive.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead, Fabian.
Sorry, I think I misunderstood the question earlier. I do like to speak about what was happening at the airport. So we have a lot of ICE present at the airport. A lot of workers were taken away from work, and they will come to work and they were just taken away from work. And then a lot of them were staying at home. But even the one who have documentation were taken away from work and also come to work. And there were a mother that was taken away, she was coming to work and she was at her door. They just barged in and then did not even ask for her documentation. She had full documentation. And she was taken to Bloomington, and from Bloomington, right away, like the same day, she was taken to El Paso, Texas, and her children did not know what was happening to her, and she did not speak English. They did not provide an interpreter. And then another guy, the same thing happened to him when he came back. Actually, he was injured and he didn't have no documentation. I wanted to take him to the hospital. He didn't want to leave the house because they're going to take him again. And some of the workers who have documentation, they have to leave work to pick up their children because ICE were waiting for, workers' children at the bus stop, so they couldn't work. So a lot of the workers were in hiding and they still are not comfortable to come to work. I myself was so scared going to work. I'm a citizen of this country, but I was so scared. Even when I was at work, just cross the street to go to the restroom, I had to carry my passport. So yeah, it was a very difficult time.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, there's been an incredible amount of courage of people choosing to come to work still, and also deciding to stay home. I think out of those fears and out of that concern for safety, it takes a lot to um, to stay home and not leave your house as well. I think that is also a very courageous thing to do. So yeah, that fear, it hasn't gone away for a lot of folks. And I'm sorry that you have to that you've had to feel that, and that your coworkers are experiencing all of that. So, and Fabian, you had mentioned earlier that it was, it's been freezing. It's been freezing cold this past winter. And now we're getting, spring is here. It's warming up a bit. But on one of the coldest days of this winter, in minus 20-degree wind chill, almost 100,000 Minnesotans gathered downtown to take part in collective action and protesting downtown, shutting down the streets. 1,000 small businesses closed in solidarity. Many people stayed home. We have a story up on Workday magazine about some data that came out showing that around 1 in 4 Minnesotans participated in the statewide no school, no work, no school, no shopping, historic day of truth and freedom. And so I'm curious to hear from you all your reactions to that day, your actions on that day. What did you think about it when it was first announced? How did you organize your coworkers around it, and what your experience was of that day? Fabian, would you like to go first?
Sure. Like I said earlier, I done so many organizing. This one was not even that hard to organize because people were ready for this. People were just tired of this. And so I was amazed by the outcome. At the place at the airport, it was like a ghost town. Not so many workers showed up. Only few showed up. A lot of the workers didn't show up. And then with the cold weather, I was overwhelmed to see that many people were out there for like 5 hours. And everybody was there and then showed up, and even the people that was scared and who are staying home, they were there. And then, they were there and they showed up, and the outcome was overwhelming. Yes, the airport rally was amazing.
Thank you for sharing that. Paul, would you like to go next? What was your experience like of January 23rd?
Yeah, first of all, what Fabian says is like my primary memory, I think, and I think of most of it, is just being extremely, extremely cold. That day was so cold, and I spent most of the march like wondering how many of my toes would make it. So it was very cold, but there were just tens and tens of thousands of people there, which was really, really phenomenal. I marched with folks from my union, which was great. In our union, I think what Fabian said is true too. Like when there have been like big worker mobilizations, like even going back here to the 1934 general strike, it's been primarily defensive, right? Like And that was totally true here. People really felt under attack and under siege. So I think that led to a lot of it being pretty easy to get a lot of folks to come out. In our union, around unions, like workplaces with around 600 people total, fully shut down. So that was all the co-ops in the Twin Cities, which are union, Half Price Books, maybe a couple others that I'm forgetting, as Peace Coffee being the other one. And then most of our employers were willing to work with people, and I think a fair amount of people from our other employers went out that day as well. And again, most of the workplaces that were fully closed and closed for that day were under contract, so we have no strike clauses, and yet somehow these businesses closed down for the day. So I think that was really, really impressive. I think overall, I saw that day, and then later on texting people. I was so bundled up, I had to text people afterwards, like, "Were you there?" I could barely see anyone. But just from my notes, what many unions had lots and lots of people out, and that was again really impressive, including a lot of unions which had not done this type of action before. From LIUNA, the Parks Board workers, to stagehands in IATSE, to professors and unions like the IFO, to people at the airport. And I think the biggest impact that a lot of this is with unorganized restaurant workers, because I remember afterwards at the end of the march, I was trying to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't because there are no open restaurants in all of downtown Minneapolis. I think that was really phenomenal, and again, with organized by people without a union, right? And yet, I'd say 90 in downtown, like all of the restaurants were closed, and in Minneapolis, especially, I thought the vast majority of the restaurants were shut down that day. Driving around my neighborhood again, it felt like what Fabian said. It felt like a ghost town driving around my neighborhood that day. Everything was shut down.
Thank you for sharing. That point about so many non-union restaurant workers, just like downtown is usually there's a lot of people around in restaurants hanging out and stuff, and for the fact that it was shut down and couldn't find a bathroom anywhere, that's pretty awesome. Chelsea, what about you? What was your experience like of January 23rd, and how do we can talk about this more, but how do you think we can keep that momentum going?
So for January 23rd, obviously, as what's been stated, it's been some of the most unbelievable organizing that we've witnessed in this state. And I just want to be clear that it did not start with the ICE occupation. This is a very mature community of organizations and base groups that have really been a part of a struggle for a very long time. So, all of the things that we've learned about nonviolent direct action training came from the freedom fighters. It came from the fight for Black liberation in our streets. It came from Jamar Clark. It came from everyone who came before that. It came from the Black-led organizations who had to say after the murder of George Floyd, "Do you believe us now?" It's that painful history and that teaching from union organizers and freedom fighters for the past several decades and beyond in our community that really prepared us for this moment in Minneapolis in a way. The political assassination of Melissa Hortman was on No Kings, and despite that, the community turned out and continued to be nonviolent when we were, like when we're being tempted by ICE to react in the way that we want to. It is all of that history that came together and then made the day of truth and freedom possible in this state. And one of the, I saw unions move really, really fast And I would say the organizing may have felt easy, but it wasn't like we just called this day of action and 50,000 people showed up. I saw hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of direct worker visits, phone calls to workers, job site visits to prepare for this day. So it was that combination of momentum, the combination of hard work that has led up to that, and then the hard work of that. You know, as one of the lead organizations trying to keep everyone together on this, I have never seen a more united front across all factors of our movement leading into that day. One of the funnier stories is we were so worried about people's safety because of the weather report. We were able to rent the Target Center in 48 hours and have a band and a speech and everything lined up. So, you know, thankfully the march was so huge that the Target Center was a beeline story. The march is what really stole the show and stole the day. And I'm just so proud of everyone that made that so possible.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, the speed at which people organized for that day was like really unbelievable. Yeah, that day I think it's been 2 months. It's been over 2 months since that, and it's still kind of, you know, is on my mind a lot. Alrighty. So let's talk a little bit about how we keep this momentum going. I know that there are more actions being planned all the time, maybe various struggles happening with specific unions. How do you see workers taking action now and into the future, specifically maybe with more, you know, no kings and more days like January 23rd being planned? And anyone can answer this question if someone wants to jump in.
I can take a shot at it.
Go ahead.
So on February 15th, around 400 people showed up at the United Labor Center, where Chelsea is right now. And we, you know, organized by a bunch of different organizations. I was part of putting this together. We had a workers' assembly, where again, it was over 400 people across so many different unions. And we did like a collective debate, and there voted unanimously to have another day of action on May 1st, lining up with the National May Day Strong Coalition led by Chicago Teachers Union. Since then, locally, 4 unions, the IFO, the Interfaculty Organization, which is faculty at Minnesota State Universities, OPEIU Local 12, representing the office and professional employees, CWA Local 7250, which represents call center workers and video game testers, and DLU UE, the grads at the U of M have all endorsed this. I'm sure there's more in the way. And so that's one thing that a lot of people are building. I know there's energy for that. You know, that's very consciously being built from the bottom up. Besides that, I think No Kings is happening this Saturday. A friend from New York said apparently in New York unions don't do this as much. Here it's normal, but the AFL-CIO is organizing like a contingent to meet up beforehand. I think maybe Chelsea will know more, but it seems like we've been doing that for a while now, and it's a great time. Usually we do like a kind of a little kind of our own little rally kind of beforehand with our own speakers, and then head off to the big thing. Besides that, there's obviously the even though there's been like a drawdown during January and February, and then since many workers from different unions have been doing what Chelsea said, participating in rapid response groups, following around ICE and keeping an eye on them, as well as again, going off of Chelsea, the huge amount of mutual aid that has been happening. that has been continuing in different ways, and I imagine that will continue because it's never really seems like it's over here in Minneapolis.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, no kings this Saturday. That's interesting to hear that some of the labor movement in other cities don't do that as much. But I would love to be corrected if that's wrong, or maybe see more of that happening. Chelsea or Fabian, do you have anything to add? How can we keep momentum going?
Stay organized and keep talking. Like you said, I get a lot of phone call from family members who live in other states, and they'll be like, "Are you guys having another one again?" So yeah, it's just stay organized and keep talking and get everyone involved.
Yeah, I definitely echo the staying involved. March 28th is going to be a powerful day, followed by May Day is going to be another powerful day full of strike activity and hopefully some celebration as well. And I think the real thing now is we have to continue to expand this amazing group of trained union peacekeepers who are experts in this nonviolent direct action. And this group now needs to, expand its expertise into election protection. We're very concerned about the activities that we're going to see in our state between now and November that may impact our democracy. And so I think the next thing is for everyone to take that next step and start thinking about how these skills can be used to help protect our democracy and our elections going forward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. We are only months away from that election, and there's already been so much action to threaten and intimidate voters and our neighbors and community around that day and our rights to vote. So yeah, that is something we'll be keeping our eyes on at Workday Magazine, the local efforts to protect elections and election workers as well. I've reported on some poll workers before and gotten a little bit behind the scenes of what it's like to work at the polls, and it is very important work that they do there, and a lot of it is volunteer as well. So definitely keep our eyes forward for that. So I've heard the words mutual aid a few times from each of you. And I've been thinking a lot about how mutual aid is specifically protected alongside collective bargaining. In Section 7 of the National Labor Relations Act, it says that employees are guaranteed the right to self-organization, to form, join, or assist labor organizations, to engage in other concerted activities for the purpose of collective bargaining or other mutual aid or protection. And so I'm thinking about mutual aid and unions and mutual aid. And I'm curious if there is any specific story or general story that either one of you would like to share about, kind of these alternative systems of community protection and welfare that we've had here. Chelsea, you touched on it a little bit from previous struggles for Black liberation in our home here. But yeah, I would love to hear more about how you engage in it as an individual and also as part of an organization. Yeah, anyone can go first if you want to jump in.
Fabian, you should talk about the first floor of the building here.
The food, you mean?
The first floor of the building here.
Oh yes. So we've been doing a food drive and to workers. I've been involved since the day of this happening for the past over 2 months. So we do we make sure anybody actually, not only workers who does not be short with food. Make sure they're getting food delivered every week. All the workers that were staying home, we make sure we deliver weekly food, cleaning product. Even if they have a birthday, make sure the kids get whatever they need for birthdays. So we've been doing delivering every week, and then give them a pamphlet with information and where they can call us and then or send us a text and request what they need. So we've been having thousands of food being delivered to a lot of the workers, and also we've been giving a ride to workers. Uh, make sure that they get to work and then right from work. Make sure that if they have hospital appointments or if they have a clinic appointment, we make sure that we transport them to their hospital visit and then come back. Yes, we did convert one of the big office in our local, and we have storage room there for food. When we first started, it was little bit difficult for us because we didn't know where to get the food, and then we were getting food from food shelves. Then we got a fund, we bought products and start delivering everything that's needed for workers who are staying at home.
Wow, that's amazing to hear. Yeah, yeah, all the food delivery and the transportation, that is super super important, and especially in wintertime where it's even less accessible for people to get around. Yeah, and Paul,
Appreciate
you
you.
also
Thank
mentioned
you.
food, working in grocery store, seeing just all everyone come in and take things to bring to food shelves and to people in need. What has your experience been like with, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of that on the community level. I think one thing that I don't know if we've talked about yet, but among immigrant communities, there's in Minneapolis, there's a huge tradition of self-organization with the Somali community, with the East African community, with the Latino community, and I think another community that are immigrants are a huge population here of what I call red state refugees, right? Like there's a lot of queer folks, trans folks, including our murdered sister Renee Good, who come from other states facing bathroom bans and abortion bans and come here. There's, if the queer community also has a huge tradition of self-organization and mutual aid among the community. So we've seen a lot of that. The story that's really, really heartwarming to me is with our restaurant workers. I talked to a restaurant worker, again, at an unorganized, non-union restaurant, who said that with just the huge amount of mutual aid and food delivery and giving rides to coworkers, like what Fabian was describing, I started my working life in restaurants. And if anyone who works in restaurants knows, there's a huge divide between the front of house and the back of house, and that's an ethnic divide, a language divide, oftentimes a racial and gender divide as well. And it's traditionally the big roadblock organizing restaurants. And my friend said that because of all the mutual aid, that divide was they were as close as ever to breaking it. Like people from front of house and back of house were actually talking to each other and working together and things for the first time that anyone could remember. So, while it was, again, in response to a huge emergency and a very terrible circumstance, I think there are many moments of people using that to find connection with each other. And hopefully that will pave a path forward for us all.
Thanks for sharing, Paul. Yeah, that's great. I feel like there's, a lot of those kinds of social barriers can become thinner in times of need. And yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. I worked as a barista for 6 years, and yeah, it was definitely like even like the bonds you know, between with customers too. That's what I like. What I've been seeing a lot is like, you know, people who patronize these restaurants have been showing up for the workers in the restaurants that they go to, and you know, just sitting in immigrant-owned cafes and restaurants, just, you know, being vigilant and caring in that way as well. So it's been great to see that as well. Chelsea, would you like to share any stories of mutual aid? I know that the ML, MRLF, I always get the acronyms wrong. MRLF has a few different programs that help workers with different kinds of needs like food and housing. Could you share a little bit about that?
So in addition to the Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation, we operate our own 501c3 called Working Partnerships that is designed to help folks in time of need. And I love the beauty that both Paul and Fabian talked about in the sort of restaurant and hospitality industry, because that was a blueprint that was built during COVID. And so to see that industry just, you know, rise to meet this moment is, you know, it was really great to see. It is very beautiful that the mutual aid is so decentralized, but it does come with its own challenges of, you know, getting the right things to the right people and directing volunteers. I think a big challenge that we've had to overcome with the immigrant community is their trust in, you know, receiving the aid. Some of the families who probably need it the most have really refused or been reticent to take community aid because of the narratives that have been swirling around our communities, which has been really heartbreaking. So through our fund that we have, the main things that we've been working on are legal aid and then rent assistance. We also do some food and we do some utility payments, but you know, a lot of people have found their food resources from these other trusted networks. So we do some of that, but a majority of ours has been rent payments to try and keep people in their homes. Almost every single person that we're dealing with is in, you know, households with children, either one or both parents. And many times it's a multi-generational household where it's more than just, you know, the parents. So you're talking about a lot of things at stake for a large number of people. And so the need is so high, we've really only been able to prioritize those who are on the verge of eviction or other negative impacts on them. We've worked with almost 300 families now to help them pay their rent or mortgage or parts of it to try and keep them in their homes. And we know that's not enough. There's a lot of people to give shout outs to in the mutual aid world, but I particularly want to talk to our teachers. The teachers who stepped up and made magic happen at these schools, along with the parents and PTAs. We got calls from teachers who were like dipping into their own savings because they just felt so closely connected to these families that they were supporting. And so it's just, the need is there. And what's different is that during COVID, there was a sort of equalizing amount of aid that was brought into the community. And this is pure retribution from this administration. So that aid is not only not flowing, you're seeing it being like Medicaid being threatened and other things. So it's not the same level of support. And we are going to have a large economic fallout now from this all across
the, you know, the hundreds of families that you've helped. It's like you said, it's not enough, but it's enough for them right now, for those people that you are helping. And yeah, the economic fallout that's looming, the eviction crisis that many people have already been living through. I know that according to the city of Minneapolis, there was a need for more than $15 million in rental assistance just for the month of January. And so This is something that, you know, our mutual aid networks can respond to in the moment, but a lot of people have said, you know, we can't go fund me our way out of this long term. I'd love to hear from you, Fabian, if this is something that your union also organizes around the rental assistance and rental relief. Have you been involved with any of that, or have you heard from your coworkers what their experiences has been like around housing?
Absolutely. Most of my coworker who hasn't been working for the past 2 months have no money to pay rent, and they are asking for rental assistance, and few of them did receive, and the rest of them are, some of them, most of them actually are back to work now, but still who are still behind. They haven't been paying their rent, so we are still working on that. We've been communicating with our union, and we are having to fill up the application and then go from there. But yeah, there's a lot of workers that who are in the need of that, and actually a couple of them are just received an eviction notice too. So
Oh wow. Yeah, that's really sad to hear. Um, is did they experience that for the month of March, or is because even now it's like the end of March, April's coming up again. So are they gonna have to move out by the end of this month?
I'm not sure yet. I just got a call a couple days ago that they told me that the landlord is telling them if they're not paying rent, they're going to proceed with the eviction. And then also, some people are borrowing money from people to pay the rent, and still they have to pay back what they owe to other people. So it's just all around. It's very difficult. I mean, people live months to months. Like if you don't work for, like if I don't go to work for a week, I know I won't be able to to make my mortgage payment. So it's very difficult for people. So yeah, a lot of people are struggling right now. They're back to work, but still very behind with bills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point too. Is even with people returning to work, it's still impossible to catch up, especially in time when you've got deadlines for bills. So yeah, I know that there's been a call for an eviction moratorium to be enacted at the statewide level, and also at the statewide level, lawmakers trying to pass relief. But that probably won't be available to folks until mid to late summer, and so that will be like well past the time that it's needed. um yeah, Paul, is your union organizing around housing or eviction and rental assistance?
I haven't heard of specific issues around housing yet. We did, and this was an important thing. We represent a wide variety of people, not just grocery stores, but meatpacking as well, and are a very diverse union and a very politically diverse union. And we, on the executive board, voted unanimously to donate $5,000 to the legal support fund that the MRLF has set up. We have also worked closely with working partnerships for a while now. Doug, the guy at Working Partnerships, is one of the greatest people in general in Minneapolis. He's been extremely helpful to me personally, he's been helpful to other people within our union. And yeah, this is a lot of our unions, that the two ones that are here right now, UFCW and Local 17, like, we represent some high paid workers. We represent some workers who are in the middle, but we represent a lot of workers who are on the lower rungs of the pay scale. And what Fabian said is true. Like, this is a constant issue that has only been made worse by this crisis.
So that here at the Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation, we have been working with local municipalities to try to get them to extend their eviction notice policies. Several cities have put forward such policies and have been successful and had them passed. I think there's more work to be done still. Same thing at the state level. The relief package did pass by one vote in the Senate, but ultimately was not passed in the House. So, we're just doing what we can to try and get relief and just time, giving people time to get themselves figured out. I forgot to mention this. It's really hard to pay someone's rent. It is not easy. So each person that we're helping with requires paperwork, forms, working with leasing companies, and nobody's lease is the same. Nobody's situation is the same. It's not like you can just say, here's some money, go pay your rent bill. We have to do it through these different avenues. So,
why?
That is as much of a capacity issue as
do they
anything
not
else,
trust
that
the
it's just
people to
hard
pay their
do.
rent?
So we really need some widespread relief. that
Why
is
can't they
not
just give them the
sort of
money?
Trying to just prevent the dam from bursting.
Yeah, thank you for that point. Yeah, all of that, that
They must
labor
not trust
into
them to pay
going
the
into
rent if they just give
paperwork,
them the money. That's funny. That's
and making
actually
sure
fucking
you get
hilarious.
things
That's
turned
funny.
in, and the legal aspects of the leases being all different, and it's oftentimes confusing as well. Some of the legal jargon and a lot of the contracts that people sign, and we would know that as union folk. So but thank you for that work that you've been doing that, and I agree, it's not
These are not
it's not a
useful
permanent
idiots. Don't say
solution
that.
either. So
That's a
it would
retard
be-
take.
it would be
Sorry.
great to see more relief come from the state and from cities as well. Certainly. Alrighty.
Can I add something on what Kelsey said? Yes, a lot of works, a lot of paperwork, and also some of the workers have to move from the place where they were staying, living, because it was very expensive. So when they move to a cheaper place, so they even have to provide more, paperwork and, a new lease and talk to the new landlord. So it's so difficult too.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, people just moving around and not being able to maybe stay where they've felt at home too. And yeah, that being difficult and just a huge disruption to people's lives. In addition to all of the other disruption that has been going on. I've heard a little bit of you all talk about this, about the different workers that your unions and organizations cover. Sometimes workers on the higher end of some pay scales, and then a lot of times lower income workers. And I think that is one of the strengths of Minnesota's labor movement, is that we are very diverse, and we have all of these beautiful intelligent communities that are a part of our labor movement here. So I would love to hear from you all, what are the strengths of Minnesota's labor movement? And you can talk about what has happened in the last few months, but also I'd love to hear just with your experience in general in your time in the labor movement, and if there's anything you want to share about our strengths here. Anyone can jump in. Feel so inclined.
Well, I'll go because it kind of builds on how I talked about earlier, the long history that we have and that we've built together here, being so critical to what our strengths are. And I think, you've seen it on display. In addition to that long history, is we just have a fierce loyalty to our neighbors and our coworkers in a way that has really shown up and showed sort of the country what it means to be there for your neighbors. And I think that we're a people that can live in a state that is cold half the year and hurts your face for several months of the year, and I do like to think that that provides some of that grit and some of that that capacity, and to trust and love your neighbors so much. So I think that's a big piece of it, in addition to the historic lessons that I talked about, and the like deep network of training that has happened, this nonviolent direct action training, constitutional observer training, and like our loyalty and trust. Like, you need to know when a neighbor says it's time to go home, it's time to go home. And we need to be with each other in that. We need to be there when we need to be there, and we need to trust each other. So I think those are the advantages. I think the challenges that we still face are the same as any other community. There is people wanting us to believe untruths. So the spread of disinformation and information is so important. So I think a key thing coming out of this is like, we are all truth tellers. And anyone who's coming to Minneapolis or Minnesota as part of this is like here to be a truth teller. And so I think an area of improvement is like, how are we as a labor movement getting the truth out there to all of our members who are being inundated with misinformation, etc. And then I think the divides that continue to plague our community. We still have some of the worst racial and economic divides in the entire country here in Minneapolis. So we can't ignore those, and hopefully these are the kinds of moments that bring us transformational change. And what I tell people is, we're not fighting to go back to where we were before the occupation. We're fighting for how do we get more equity going forward. So
more
I think
equity means
those are
socialism.
our strengths, and then our challenges that are right in front of us right now.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like how you worded that. A lot of people know that we won't be able to go back to a quote unquote normal before the occupation. So that transformation is going to be what's going to lead us into the future, and hopefully it's one that's more equitable and just. Paul or Fabian, do you have anything to add? What are strengths of Minnesota's labor movement, and any challenges or areas of improvement?
Yeah, I think it's what Chelsea said. The strength is the people, right? Like, we have so many great people here in Minnesota, and it's our history. We, there was the 1934 general strike here in Minneapolis. There was the George Floyd uprising, which a lot of people learned a lot from.
George Floyd uprising is what socialists call it.
From COVID. You can, I think, go back to the Dakota uprising of the 1860s. That was, a big rebellion in our history, and it's a historical moment of irony. I would say that where the U.S. government held thousands of Dakota people in a concentration camp is the same site at Fort Snelling where ICE had their headquarters. So, there's a through line.
I can't control their volume, Teresa.
Like AIM was founded here, right? So there's a lot of that. And I'd say a big challenge is how to translate that history of popular power and movements and people coming together into institutional change. I think a strike that kind of got both of it last year, big labor struggle, was at the University of Minnesota, where over 1,000 Teamsters, primarily people of color, immigrants in the dining hall, custodians, kind of other blue-collar jobs at the university, went out on a week-long strike that was just, I was on the picket lines. It felt like a moment of liberation for these workers. It was an incredible moment of strength for these workers.
Liberate from capitalism.
I think they got everything they wanted at the end of the strike because Willie Nelson himself took the side of the workers and called the governor and told him to tell the university to give them the deal. But that was done, really importantly, that was done completely against the wishes of the leadership of their own union, who opposed them doing this. And
I
and then
strongly
after
doubt
that,
that.
the workers who are kind of key to that ran for leadership of the union and lost. And now are facing retribution from their own union leadership. That's that's kind of the two sides right there, right? So going forward, we need to be figuring out as a labor movement how to bring forward moments of this democracy from the ground up, bring it forward into our unions, and then expand it into other places. Because the other big challenge is that we have a little bit more people in unions in other states, but still the vast majority of the working class in our state is not in a union. And until that begins to change, we can do a lot of good things, but the power of the labor movement is really power in numbers. And if our numbers keep declining, our power keeps declining too.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and thanks for mentioning the University of Minnesota Teamsters strike. I had the honor of also being on the picket line there and reporting from on the ground. And yeah, it was truly.
Why hasn't
phenomenal
the
just to
University of
see,
Minnesota been
the first
defunded?
night that they went on strike at the St. Paul campus.
The University of Minnesota has
I
been
just
doing a
watched
ton of
bus
this
after
anti-ICE
bus
shit.
after
Why
bus
haven't they been
workers
defunded?
come in
Oh, you
and
got to
sign
focus
in
on Harvard
the
with
strike,
anti-Semitism. Can't do the
and
real shit,
yeah,
Trump
that week
administration,
was
like defund the
there was a lot of
anti-ICE
solidarity
organizers.
there, and
We
it
have to
was
focus
great
on
to see that.
anti-Semitism at Harvard. Oy vey.
Willie. So.
And also, if I may add, our diversity does like the diversity, like when you feel like when your neighbor is not safe, you don't feel safe. When your coworker is being targeted, you don't feel safe. So our diversity and our organizing, like when people are organized, we're very strong, and our diversity does a miracle. Like everybody was out there. People who were targeted were out there because their neighbors are standing next to them.
Yes, thank you for adding that, Fabian. Our diversity is 100% a strength of our labor movement here, and I especially think of our immigrant neighbors and workers who a lot of them have come here and have experience, living under dictatorships and through fascist regimes, and so
Fascism.
they have a lot of wealth of information and expertise that they've been sharing with us too, and that definitely is, I think, our number one strength. Thank you all for your answers to that. I'd love to talk a little bit more about some of the demands that were put out for January 23rd and beyond. One of them was
They always
for
have demands, guys.
workplaces to become Fourth Amendment workplaces. And I'm curious if any of you have experience with passing this kind of resolution in your union or in your workplace. And yeah, if any of you want to explain what the Fourth Amendment workplace is.
We did this a little bit in some of our workplaces. So I think that's what that's referring to is for workplaces to put in policies around, if ICE or immigration enforcement can, what they can and can't do within the place, and if they need a warrant, requiring them for a warrant. I think that most of our retail businesses within the Twin Cities established policies. I mean, the main one was of need. Like,
what do you think we're doing?
Not just a union thing. Store directors were like, okay, like, what happens if they do come in? What do we do? So policies around, making sure that employee-only areas are clearly marked employee-only, so that anyone can't just go walk in and wander around the back room, things like that. Different workplaces have responded differently. Some have more put together policies than others. Some, but I thought they were across all of our employers, they're all pretty good. Some of that happened in collaboration with our union. Some of that was, specific employers just coming up with their policy and it being the right thing to do. For a while in January, especially in a public place like grocery stores, it was also things that customers were asking, like, am I safe shopping here, right?
Thank you.
So that was it wasn't just the workers, right? It was a common demand. I know there's been a kind of like ongoing campaign, primarily, I think, a consumer campaign focused on Target, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, corporation in the state to follow through on that. Again, it will depend from company to company, but it's an important thing to keep pushing for. Again, it was just sort of, to sum up, it was not the hugest challenge in the world to ask employers to put together good policies on this in my neck of the woods, but it was something that kind of all of us had to figure out. Okay, what are the actual rules in our workplace, and how are we gonna, let's establish plans and figure out what do we do.
I just want to add on to that. We're actually seeing this as potentially a very strong workplace organizing issue, especially in upcoming contract negotiations and in the restaurant industry in particular. There's been a lot of know your rights. So know your rights has, always been a cornerstone of what's happening in our communities. And so a lot of employers over the last 6 weeks will say, oh yeah, we have a policy. But nobody knows what that policy is. Nobody has actually been trained on like, what are the rights? So a lot of unions are not only trying to demand for these policies, but they're also trying to get know your rights trainings connected to them so that the policies actually mean something. We're seeing some of that language being proposed in people who are going into contract negotiations right now, and just kind of expanding those policies. I'm part of a conversation at the city of Minneapolis that does a lot of co-enforcement for other labor standards, and seeing how can these types of policies be added to labor education, those sorts of things. This wasn't necessarily union employers all of the time, but right at the height in the first couple weeks, one of the most popular signs
Thanks,
we
Murphy
had
School.
that we were
Thank you.
distributing was the "This is private property," the city of Minneapolis placard that they provided. And actually, I was traveling in another state, and the Minneapolis placard was in another state's restaurant. They had posted that. So there is a lot of activity, and I think it's an ongoing opportunity.
They're using capitalism
for,
against the state
upcoming
is what they're
contract
doing.
Negotiations and continued know your rights activity, safety activity, and work sites, both organized and unorganized.
Yeah, thank you for that. Fabian,
Yeah, we still got the membership goal, guys. Membership goal, just saying.
Workplace, right?
No one else is showing you this shit.
Have you experienced, or you and your coworkers been talking a lot about what safety looks like, or are there policies that the airport has for workers around Fourth Amendment rights?
Well, the worker, we got organized and we approached Mac, the airport commissioner, and we asked them what they're doing about this and what's their plan.
The airport workers.
But as a workers, we got organized and we make sure we all had our whistle, and we make sure if we see anybody going back, then we were ready, to blow our whistle. But and our union has been doing pretty good organizing the workers and giving us information and know your right information. That we've been passing out all the information to workers. If anything happens, call this number.
W blind chef on
but
Rumble.
the main thing is we approach
W
airport
puzzle. Thank you
commissioner
guys.
Mac, and we wanted to know what their plan is going forward to protect workers who comes to work at the airport.
MAC is the Metropolitan Airport Commission.
Commissioner, yes.
The agency, yeah. And I know some workers with Unite Here, and also some of the rideshare drivers that have been organizing as well, have been testifying at MAC for various, demanding various things for safety, and for bathroom facilities for rideshare drivers, and facilities for prayer. Have you testified at MAC, or is that?
Yeah, I have testified on MAC. When we talked about how many workers were taken away from the airport while they were at work, and we demanded and asked MAC, "What are you planning to do for this? What's your step that they're taking to protect workers?" And then we did rally there, private airline that transporting workers too. So I was part of that. But the main thing is we did approach MAC because they run the airport. So
And this is a rapidly developing situation as well. I know we're currently working on putting some actions together.
Yeah, it's
in the
going to go
next
up.
couple
Don't worry.
days
I know
out of
that.
the airport, given the current
Viewership
events
is cyclical.
around both the AFGE workers going without pay for 54 days. The news about Delta transporting Liam and other detainees out of state, and the ongoing, now newly announced potential presence of ICE. Even though Minneapolis isn't on the list, it's still a concern. So this is an evolving topic at the airport, and I expect you're going to be seeing more activity in the coming days.
And since you said that, Chelsea, let's give a special shout out to AFGE Local 899, I believe.
Thank you.
Some of those,
Do that.
some of their officers have spoken at rallies. They're all really great people who are now, I think, for the third time in 12 months going without pay. And I know the MSP Airport Foundation has a fund on their website that they're using to give gas cards and grocery cards to the TSA workers. I know that a food bank has organized
So it's the
food pickup
left
days at
supporting
airport for
the
these
TSA
workers.
workers.
A really
It's the left
intense
giving the
situation for them.
TSA workers money.
Again, one of the ironies now is that in other states, not MSP yet, but they're sending in ICE agents who are getting paid to stand around and seemingly watch as TSA agents who are not getting paid actually.
Hey,
do the
W,
work
thank
to keep
you.
us safe.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, those are all great points. The very recent news of ICE going into the airports, not MSP, but that being on everyone's mind, and potentially happening here, would definitely be a cause of concern. In addition to the airlines that are doing the work of deporting our neighbors here as well. I've been to the Terminal 1 and have been able to see one of those flights happen. We have a local aviation enthusiast.
Thanks, Drew.
Nick
Appreciate you.
Benson, I believe is his name, and had the pleasure of meeting him. And and he goes out there and watches all of the flights that happen constantly every week. And so it's having someone in the movement like that who can also be vigilant and track that as well. And then having airport workers go and testify and say, hey Mac, please do something about this. Fabian, has there been a response from the agency at all to workers' demands around safety?
not that I know of. I haven't heard anything.
That's not good to hear. Not good to hear that lack of response happening.
Thanks,
but,
Drew.
Hopefully we'll be seeing more action, just as Chelsea has been saying. And One other question that I had that I've been thinking a lot about is I know that there has been, some of these demands for Fourth Amendment workplaces for investigating, the murders, the killings of Alex Preddy and Renee Good, and the deaths of a lot of other people in detention that have been happening. And I've been curious because according to polling, there are more people in the US that support the abolition of ICE than oppose the abolition of ICE. And I'm curious if any of you have heard unions or union members been talking about this. If anything, I know Paul, you had talked about the worker assembly that had happened a few weeks ago, and that there were some demands passed there. So I'm curious if anyone's been talking about what it would be like to abolish ICE.
Yeah, at the February 15th Workers' Assembly, which again, over 400 people showed up to, with wide participation across many unions across the labor movement. We voted on demands for our next action, for the May Day action. And one of those was the abolition of ICE. And the
The
four
unions want
that
ICE abolished.
signed on to that have all endorsed that as well as kind of as part of it, the sign on. So that's again the IFO, the OPEIU Local 12, CWA Local 7250, and Blue UE Local 1105. The truth about immigration is that there are flashpoints at times, but the system of, in my personal opinion, the system of immigration enforcement throughout U.S. history has been always very cruel and very racist in many ways, and very targeted at making sure that there is a permanent class of people without the same rights of citizenship as the rest of us, despite them also being workers who do the same work as us, and oftentimes really, really tough jobs in meatpacking, in farm work, etc. And in farm work, they, in many, except for 2 states, they don't even have collective bargaining rights. They were written out of the NLRA in the 30s. So that is the ongoing history of the U.S. and of work and workers in the U.S. is this always this existence of this 2-tier system. The main way that it reflects in all of us is to keep those workers mostly at the bottom, the lower tiers of the economy, to keep them afraid. And that's the main weapon that bosses have, and it is a very, very effective weapon, is fear. If you see masked men kidnap people at your workplace, you are generally, less likely to, want to cause havoc, right? So I think that has been in the past. The AFL-CIO nationally in the 2000s signed passed a resolution in favor of legalization for all. I don't, maybe it's time to dust that off. That would be my personal opinion.
Anything to add, Chelsea or Fabian?
Yeah, I'll just add the national AFL-CIO probably hasn't always been the right place in history on all of these issues, but in the past decade or so that I've been in leadership, we have been in lockstep coordination with administrations, including Democratic administrations, that have been very against our priorities.
They hate the Democrats.
Full immigration reform, exactly what Paul is saying. We have language on ICE. I don't know what it is exactly right now because it's evolved quickly because of what's happened. And so, we have known and we've spent a lot of time talking to our members about how labor laws are immigration laws and immigration laws are labor laws. They're purposely built to reinforce
labor laws are immigration laws
that we see now. So I think unequivocally, we're ready for what is immigration reform.
Mm-hmm.
We just need the rest of the folks. And like, if we ever get back in majority again, like a governing majority, they need to take, like, we can't have the same old that we had under previous administrations, Democratic administrations.
They hate the
Thank you for
Democrats.
that. And I just saw too that the National AFL-CIO convention is being held in Minneapolis this summer too. Is that right?
Oh,
We're so excited to sort of welcome the national labor movement here. We think it's going to be a historical convention. This was all set long before Operation Metro Surge, and I think it's going to be a defining moment for the nation's labor movement to be here and be witnesses and participate in this protection of our democracy.
Certainly. Fabian, do you have anything to add about the widespread support for immigration reform and or abolishing ICE?
So yeah, and the Unite here and most of our contract, there is a section about immigrant rights, worker right for immigrant if we have documentation, issue and stuff. But definitely we need to revisit and now incorporate this new thing that's happening in our life. So because of
Democrats.
ICE, we definitely probably have to revisit our contracts and incorporate worker protection.
Yes, certainly. Thank you. We only have around 5 minutes left. And I had one question on here that I'd hope to hear from all of you. What is one thing that has been a source of comfort or sustenance or hope for you? Anyone wants to jump in first?
I will just say that the clarity, sometimes when you're doing this work, you can feel like you're up against, you're up against corporations, you're up against like them, and you are, but then being able to step back and see how leaderful this movement has been and how leaderful our communities are. I mean, looking at these beautiful people on this call and all the calls that we've been on, everyone has really stepped into to just like embracing a very leaderful community and a leaderful movement. And I think that's what's the most, inspiring for me.
For me, during I think February, there is this like kind of like blockade set up, like a checkpoint type thing set up in Powderhorn. Where
you have to plan
there was, like, a
conferences
stud
that
end
big
of a
years in
street
advance,
where,
bro. Don't read too much into
there are a
it.
lot of families who live there, and they kind of blocked off that street for like a block party, but also to like make sure that if ICE was coming by, that they would stop them and like not let them through. And so it was this combination of this very kind of, like dangerous thing to do, like trying to, protect a block against ICE. And this very cute thing that happened was I went on the weekend and they had blocked it off for that day so that the kids who were living in those houses could get outside, and they're having them like do the Macarena, and they had set up food and stuff. It was Powderhorn, if anyone knows, it's kind of the hippie neighborhood of Minneapolis. So someone had brought this herbal tea that I was like, kids don't drink that. It was maybe a little too herbal. I took one sip.
A little too herbal.
But so it's this kind of combination of really intense bravery and just like incredible cuteness. And that's kind of Minneapolis at its best. And I've been thinking about that the whole time. The idea of like setting up like checkpoints on the street so that kids can dance the Macarena.
Hey, thanks, bro. Appreciate you. W's.
Cuteness. That's a really adorable phrase that I like. Fabian, how about you?
I have a story actually. In our church in St. Paul, we do church very early in the morning, like we start at 6 in the morning. So 7 o'clock in the morning, one of our member from church, she's 20-year-old, was abducted by ICE. And we all were inside the church. And so all of a sudden we see a lot of people they jumped in, they come in, and people we never seen. And they tell us like, well, they took one of your daughters. And we were like, wow, all the neighbors, they came to the church, they came inside the church, they make sure everybody get a ride, make sure everybody get to their car. And I feel like that was very comforting. Every time you turn around, you see somebody's watching out for you. You know, a stranger, a person you don't even know is asking, are you okay? And when I go to work, like, it gives me comfort to see all my coworkers are there to see me. They're happy to see me, and I'm happy. I walk around and I make sure everybody made it to work. You know, so like it's very comforting to see how neighbors are out there looking out for each other. The neighbors you don't even talk to, you don't even know before. They like your daughter and said, "Are you okay?" So it's very comforting. It's Minnesota. I have no word. I'm so amazed by how strong we are, and I'm so blessed, and I'm happy, proud to be from Minnesota.
Yes, I certainly am too. And I'm so honored, and it was a pleasure being able to talk to you all today and hear more about your experiences and the amazing work that's being done by unions and their members and the labor movement and workers in Minnesota. And hearing the different calls to action to be aware of in the next few days, few weeks, maybe some airport actions coming up,
Airport
labor
actions.
delegation for May Day,
Yo,
or for No Kings,
W's,
and
thank
then
you, bro.
May
Appreciate it.
Day, national, call
Mayday,
for,
no
for
kings.
people to get out and participate in some strike action. So, yeah, certainly everyone keep your eyes on Minnesota, Minnesota workers. Thank you for coming out. I hope to see you soon, whether that's on the picket line somewhere or on the corner, just saying hi. How are you? Are you okay? That would be so amazing. So, yeah, thank you so much.
All right, that is the end of our live presentation. Again, this was a live presentation on Haymarket Books' YouTube channel, directly with the labor movement in Minneapolis, talking about what they're doing with anti-ICE organizing. Now, let me ask you guys this: one in the chat if you learned something new by watching this presentation with me. No! Volume down. One in the chat if you learned something new by watching this presentation with me that you didn't learn before. 2 in the chat if you didn't learn anything new in the watching of this presentation. 1 in the chat if you learned something new by watching this that you didn't know before we watched it. 2 in the chat if you knew all that stuff already. All right. Awesome. Lots of ones in the chat. I will dedicate that to new memberships. Thank you, WSKB, for that. Guys, as a reminder, I will take super chats dedicating channel memberships as long as you guys are watching on your phone or something. And apparently you can't give memberships on your phone. Allegedly, some people seem to have figured it out. So I don't know what's going on with everyone else's phone, but that's all right. We do still have a channel membership goal to meet, guys. So, no, bro. I already timed you out once for spamming. No more spam from you. No more. Go away. Anyway, looks like we have a lot of people in the chat who learned something new in today's training. If you appreciate the fact that I am the only person on the internet that is not a communist, that is bringing you this information, that's taking the time to break it down and explain it, that's putting it in the larger context so that you understand what you're looking at. If you appreciate that I'm showing you things that conservative influencers and journalists and pundits don't even know is happening so that we know what the left is doing before anyone else, please feel free to send in some channel memberships to fund this, because the only way I can do stuff like this is if I am funded by you. We still have a channel membership goal to meet today. And if we don't meet it, I don't know, man. I don't know. If we don't meet it, then I'm just going to assume that this is not valuable content to make and that no one really wants to be ahead of things on the left and all that. And this is not difficult, guys. If everyone in the chat sent in 1 channel membership right now to say, thank you, Karlyn, for going out of your way to show you this stuff, that's $5, guys. It's not breaking the bank. If everyone did that, we already would have been at the goal like an hour ago. So I'm a little perplexed. About why people don't value this type of content. Seems to me the reason the left is winning and that we are losing is because the right is so fucking unhinged from reality. And the reason the right is so unhinged from reality is that no one is looking at this type of content except for us. W's to Jake giving a channel membership. W's to Ceiling Cat. All right, we got 2. Do you guys want me to show you another piece of information that no one else is going to show you? Do I need to do it that way? W's to Ninja Artist, W's to Grandma Nay, W's to Kristen with 5. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, that is 7. That gets us up to 41. Do you guys want me to show you something else that the left is doing on the internet that no one else is showing you on the internet? Do you guys want me to do that? Do you guys promise that if I show you something else the left is doing that no one else on the internet is going to show you, do you guys promise to get me to that channel membership goal? Do you guys? Yeah, I think that people who say they can't send in channel memberships for their phone just aren't actually being smart, to be honest. And I'm going to turn that ability off pretty soon if I figure out you can send channel memberships from your phone and people have been lying. Anyway, do you promise? Jake in with the 5 W's to Jake. All right, I will show you something that the left is doing that no one else on the internet is going to show you. And in return for that, I'm expecting that you guys are going to come through with those channel memberships. Let's go over to Antifa's publishing arm. CrimeThink is Antifa's publishing arm. If CrimeThink is putting something on their website, that is a sign that Antifa is consuming this content all over the country, because Antifa is a non-hierarchical, decentralized organization. There is no leadership, but there are publications that they all read. CrimeThink is one of those main publications. So if you want to know what Antifa is reading, you look on CrimeThink. W's to Ceiling Cat for the channel membership. Really appreciate that, bro. Appreciate it. We're so close. Now, interesting thing got published on CrimeThink in the past couple of days. Breaking the Ice: Lessons from the Minnesota Resistance, a country-wide speaking tour. I have been telling you guys for months and months and months that the left being so successful in Minnesota, the left chasing the Trump administration out of Minnesota and also Chicago and also Portland, by the way. Roly Poly, thank you for that super chat over on Rumble. Really appreciate it. Thank you, bro. I have been telling you guys that the left is going to try to export the strategies in Minnesota all over the country. So they are now taking all of the things that went well in Minnesota that led to the Trump administration's resounding defeat in Minnesota, and they're going to be taking that all over the country to do it in other places. W's in the chat, Chitalago. Thank you so much for the channel membership. Guys, I'm really disappointed that there aren't as many new people giving channel memberships. I don't know why they're relying on the regulars to do all the work for them, but you're gonna have to look in the mirror and know that you stole my content for free. That's totally fine. In April, anarchists from the Twin Cities will have participated in resisting the ICE occupation. They will travel the country speaking on their experiences. At each presentation, they will share what they have learned from building rapid response networks, explore how Minnesota thwarted Operation Metro Surge, and draw out the lessons to defeat fascism. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. I don't want to count that towards the goal, though, because I want there to be channel memberships, and I want someone sending in channel memberships to meet the goal. But I do appreciate that. Thank you, Little Miss. Little Miss comes in with the dub. Little Miss comes in with the dub. Thank you, Little Miss. You are the consummate supporter. We really appreciate you, bro. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Guys, if you feel like continuing to send in some channel memberships, please feel free to do so. You still can give me money if you want to, but I do appreciate that we met the goal. It'd be nice to exceed the goal, but that's all right. So we're talking about people that were anarchists from Minnesota who were integral in the anti-ICE movement, traveling all over the country to share what they have learned, building those rapid response signal groups, and to explore how they defeated the Trump administration. 3 different touring groups will carry out concurrent tours covering the Midwest, the East Coast, and the West Coast for a total of 24 events. You can find the tour schedule below. Ceiling Cat, thanks for being a member of the channel for 2 months. I'll use my free one to tell you you were correct again. Yeah, I was telling you guys they were going to do this. I literally did entire shows telling you guys they were going to do this. I do appreciate that, member chat. Thank you. If you can help promote the event in your area, contact us. after travel expenses, all proceeds from the tour will go to legal defense for ICE arrestees and mutual aid for vulnerable families in the Twin Cities. Literally just the same thing we were watching them talk about in that presentation, where they said the unions were organizing mutual aid for all the illegals that are hiding in their homes in Minnesota to avoid getting deported. They've got some propaganda here that you can download. Oh, look at their dates. They're going to Atlanta, Milwaukee, Chicago, Bloomington, Baltimore, Cleveland, Buffalo, and Philly, Binghamton, Pittsburgh, New York, Detroit, Tucson, Los Angeles, Oakland, Sacramento, Eugene, Portland, Olympia, and Seattle. They've got a nationwide tour. Antifa is organizing a nationwide speaking tour. And by the way, this is going to give us a lot of like leftist event places all over the country. We need to make a list of all the places they're organizing at and that they're speaking at, because that's going to tell us who the leftist organizing event spaces are in those cities, which is going to be good information for us. But I just want to point out that Antifa is literally doing a nationwide speaking tour to teach anarchists all over the country how to engage in effective anti-ICE activism. And I'm going to be looking for volunteers to go to these things, by the way. We're doing the No Kings protest, where everyone's going to go to the No Kings protest and collect information as a starting point. But if I have volunteers that are willing to go to these events to maybe wear a recording necklace or have something in your pocket, or even just recording them on your phone or some other hidden recording device, if I can get people to go to these events and record them, that would be awesome. I think that'd be pretty great myself, because obviously I can't go to. I would get the shit kicked out of me if I did this. But you guys can. You guys can carry the torch that I can no longer carry, because I would get recognized at this shit. I know I would. And so you guys got to carry the torch. You guys got to do the work that I can no longer do, because I am getting too well known on the far left for doing this stuff. And so I'm going to be looking for volunteers to go to some of these locations and do this. Well, maybe they'll be adding some stuff. We got a member chat from Little Miss. Thank you so much for being a member of the channel for 25 months. We know you support capitalism completely. Much love from Julietta and Jenny too. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the ongoing support. W's to Loki for the gifted channel membership. Appreciate that. So that's the other thing that I'm going to bet that literally no one else is going to cover except for me, is that Antifa is literally doing a nationwide speaking tour. And how nice for us. Oh, they're going to be at Firestorm Books. I wonder if that'll be recorded. Firestorm Books does record a lot of their trainings. How nice for us, though, that we now have all these event venues, so we know exactly where they're going, which means that if we look up those events, they've already got flyers for all these things that you can print off. Guys, do you know how they get all those professionally printed signs? They literally make PDFs that anyone can download and then print them off and then go hang them up, because that's how they do this stuff. How nice of them to give us a nice list of event spaces, though, that are going to have far left events at them. I think this is like really considerate on Antifa's part. So that's going to be coming up, which means there's going to be more anti-ICE organizing going on all over the country, which I told you was going to happen. Guys, we are in a little bit of a lull right now. The No Kings protest on Saturday is going to be fuck off huge. There's going to be millions of people out on Saturday. The right's not going to see this coming, because the right doesn't pay attention to this at all. But it is going to be a big fuck off protest. During and after the No Kings protest, you should expect conservatives on the right to be going, "Wow, is a big waste of time. They didn't do anything. This is stupid. Oh, another stupid." Conservatives are going to completely dismiss it because they don't know how to handle this shit. But what they're going to miss is that this is all leading up to the next big massive end of day action, which is going to be May 1st, 2026, which is going to be on a Friday, which is going to be a mass general strike. The unions are going to be intimately involved in that. And all the while that they're organizing for this stuff and executing this stuff, they're going to be exporting their anti-ICE training all over the country via a nationwide speaking tour. Crime Think is the name of the website. Crime Think. Yep, Fox News won't cover any of it. None of the conservative pundits will take it seriously at all, but you know what? We'll do it. We'll do it. Anyway, guys, we got to wrap up this stream. Why do we have to wrap up this stream? Because we are doing Spy Stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You might say, Karlyn, we just did Spy Stream. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. There's another Spy Stream that we're going to make a supporter exclusive Spy Stream. What that means is, in order to come to the next Spy Stream that we're doing, which is going to start in about half an hour, you need to be a supporter on one of the following platforms: Substack, Locals, Patreon, Twitter subscriber, or a YouTube channel member, or Rumble. I'm going to hook you guys up as well. For all the new YouTube channel members that joined us today, welcome to the 50 plus people who are now members of the channel who were not members of the channel before. I beg of you, I plead of you, if someone has gifted you a channel membership, please do not waste that channel membership, okay? Because channel membership is one of many ways where you can get access to Spy Stream. Now, if you haven't been lucky enough to be gifted a channel membership yet, you can buy a channel membership. You can join my Substack. You can fund my work on another platform if that's your preferred method of doing it. All that is fine, well, and good, but you do need to be a supporter to come to the Spy Stream we're doing tonight. There will also be 2 Spy Streams tomorrow. Well, at least one, probably 2, at least 1 Spy Stream tomorrow. You will also have to be a supporter to come to that. We are really locking down Spy Stream again. We're making a lot of them supporter exclusive again. The reason that we're doing that is it's honestly just much nicer for everyone. It makes an environment where people take it seriously. We don't have to deal with bullshit and nonsense and chaos in the chat. There's very little that can go wrong with the supporter exclusive Spy Stream, so it leaves out a quantity of error, and it's just more relaxing, I think, for everyone to be able to watch it. I also do like it as a nice little perk to people who are supporting my work or who are lucky enough to be gifted a channel membership. If you are new to getting a channel membership, here is where you find the Spy Stream information. You go to the channel homepage. You click on the post tab. It is not a member-only stream because I have to have multiple platforms coming into that stream, okay? So Spy Stream is not a member stream. It is an unlisted stream, and I provide you with the link on the post tab prior to the Spy Stream. It is currently posted there for anyone that has a channel membership. It will literally be right at the top. If you want to join us for Spy Stream tonight, it will be getting started in about half an hour. We will be going inside a live organizing call to listen to how they're training No Kings organizers to make propaganda. So this is all leading up to the No Kings protest that's going to happen on Saturday. And as a reminder, guys, we are planning an infiltration that day. So if you want to go to the No Kings protest to collect materials and on-the-ground evidence that you can then report back to us and let us know what's going on, you can join. I already have like 4 dozen people all over the country who are locked in to going to their local No Kings protest. And that might be in a big city. It might be in a smaller location. It just depends on where they are. There are over 3,000 No Kings events all over the country. You can find one near you by going to nokings.org and just looking at their map. And what I want to do is have a team of people out there all over the country collecting information, collecting primary source evidence, collecting the propaganda that's being handed out, being just on the ground so you can see what's going on directly, looking at the different unions and tenant organizing groups and immigrant rights groups and leftist groups and far left groups that are going to show up at the No Kings protest. It's not just about who's organizing it, because the No Kings is a progressive protest. That's why we're doing it. It's going to be a relatively safe environment because progressive is not far left. However, there will be far left groups showing up at the protest, and I want to know who, and I want to know what they're handing out. If you would like to join us, you can watch the Infiltrating the No Kings protest training that I did on Sunday. That is available on demand on my Substack. It's right up there at the top. It's available on my YouTube channel. It's available on my Rumble channel. It is available on decodetheleft.com. It's available on leftwingstudies.com. It's available on my Twitter. I tell you how you can submit evidence when you watch the training. I am not going to tell you how to submit evidence unless you watch the training. If people are unwilling to sit through the training that I meticulously put together in order to coordinate my volunteer effort to do this, then you do not get access to submit evidence. So if you want to participate in this, you will find the information clearly articulated in the training. What you need to do is go watch the training, listen to the advice I'm giving you, follow the specific instructions I'm giving you, and then you will get access to submit information. But you will not get access to submit information if you do not sit down, watch the training, and follow the instructions. And whether or not people do that, is entirely up to you guys. If you want to participate, you got to watch the training. If you don't want to watch the training because you're like, that's too long, then there's no, you are not useful to me in this regard. You're not useful to me in this regard. It's the way it goes. Okay. So I'm gonna peace out now. I'm gonna go take a little bit of a break. I will be back in about half an hour, and we are gonna do our supporter exclusive spy stream. You have between now and then to find your links. Again, you can find it on whatever platform you're a supporter on. Substack, it's right on the page. On YouTube, just go to the channel homepage. Rumble, I'll hook you guys up on the channel, so don't worry about it. And find the link, and then join me in about half an hour. We're taking a little bit of a break. Also, I'm thinking about, I don't know for sure I'm going to do this, so no one get too excited. I'm thinking about going live again later after Spy Stream to listen to the Mark Levin, Joe Kent interview. So we'll see if I'm doing that. We'll see if I'm doing a little late night stream later. W's for respectfully old. Thank you for the gifted channel membership as we are wrapping up. Guys, I really appreciate everyone who sent in gifted channel memberships today. You guys make it possible for me to do what I do. I appreciate everyone who sent in super chats today and all that good stuff. Do you guys want me to go live later to watch the Joe Kent, Mark Levin interview or to listen to it? Would you guys be into that? One in the chat if you want me to listen to the Mark Levin, Joe Kent interview. Two in the chat if you think that's a dumb idea. Let me know. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. I'm like 50-50. I'm kind of leaning towards doing it because I want to listen to it myself. And we're kind of doing like a work day today. I probably would have listened to it already if we weren't doing a work day, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. We're going to go do our spy stream. We're going to go do our work. Spy stream in theory should be over by 9 p.m. So maybe after that, I will go live to listen to the Mark Levin, Joe Kent thing. I heard Mark Levin was quite an asshole, honestly. All right, guys, I'm going to end this stream. I will see you guys in about 20 minutes over on the other stream. And again, thank you to everyone who supported this stream, sent in channel memberships, super chats. You guys rock. I really, really, really appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you for sending me that info. I do appreciate it, Mustard Seed. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you soon.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.
That's difficult to answer.